brought up something before from the book, and I will read it in the book too. But could you, if you have a few seconds, just talk again about where there's two of us?
Sure.
One who does, I guess, and the other one who's watching what we're doing?
Sure. Okay, so the schizophrenic nature of self, I suppose we could sort of say. Okay, so there is simply this thing that when you first sit down to meditate, and this bit everybody can do, is generally the instruction is to sit down and just to breathe, and to pay attention to your breath as it comes in and as it goes out. And you try and hold your attention on the breathing. And inevitably, within seconds, you start thinking about something else. And then at some point, you notice that you're no longer paying attention to the breathing. You notice that you're thinking. And this is a really, really important part and really important discovery in meditation. Two things. One is that you notice that your mind is not under your control. We tend to think our mind is under control. We are our mind. But when you meditate, you're saying, stay. And it doesn't. It goes. And then you notice it's gone somewhere else, like a puppy. And then you bring it back and you say, stay, and it doesn't. So that's the first thing you learn in meditation, is your mind is not under your control. But what on earth does that mean? That your mind is not under your control. Your thoughts. And it is that there is this thing that we realize in meditation, is that when you notice you're distracted and your mind has gone somewhere else, there are two yous at that moment. There's the you that's thinking, that's solving a problem, that's thinking about the laundry or whatever it is you're thinking about. And there is the you that notices that you're not paying attention to the breathing. So there is another self. Some people call it the observer self, but it's that part of you that is sitting slightly behind you, almost, and can watch your own thoughts. It is the part of you that's aware of your own thinking. And in meditation, what we're starting to do is starting to notice that there's there's the thinking part of you. So there's thinking that goes on in the mind. And there's another you that is able to watch your own thinking. And some people call it the observer mind, some people call it the deeper self, whatever. And some people say there's even a third self as well. But what we're starting to do in meditation is notice that there's the thoughts and there's you. And although those two things are incredibly closely connected and related, they're not the same. Like you and your thoughts are not exactly the same. You can exist separate from your thoughts, insofar as you can be aware of your thoughts. And in meditation, we're starting to get a lot more in touch with that self and be less completely identified with the thinking. Now, thinking is always going to happen. That's what the mind does. That's what the brain does. But we start to be able to separate slightly and almost notice the thinking. Does that make sense?
Wisdom.